Tune in to the Diva Hustle.
Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in to the Diva Hustle Show. Today, my guest is Claire. She's the CEO of Ergo Offers. Thank you, Claire, for joining us today.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So let's kick it off by you sharing with our listeners what inspired you to create the creation of Ergo Offers, and how have your personal and professional journey been?
Yeah, so those are kind of the same answer for me. So my background is I worked at Apple on the supply chain team. There's a lot going on with that team, but a big part of it was price negotiations for all of the parts that end up in like the iPhone or the Mac. So doing those price negotiations, I loved them. And I realized there was so much I was learning about how to effectively negotiate and how to basically shop better. And I wanted to make sure the world had the same knowledge and information. So that was my career background. And then I ended up founding Ergo earlier this year. And so it really is about creating a tool that people can kind of stay within budget. It allows them to negotiate. Retailers can use it so they can negotiate with shoppers, but just making the whole experience better for everyone.
So walk us through, like, if it was a person that was a shopper and they was using your website, how does that work?
Yeah, so let's say like they want to buy a purse. If the store they are shopping from has installed Ergo, then all they do is go to that website. So there's no Ergo website. They go to the retailer's website and they go to the product page for the purse. And on that page, it usually will say like add to cart and things like that. Now there's a new button and it says make an offer with Ergo. So they can click on that. And then a pop-up comes up, ask them how much do they want to pay? How long are they willing to wait? So the idea is if they're willing to wait a little longer, they have a higher chance of getting their offer accepted. And then some basic contact information, and then they submit their offer to the retailer. And that's really the end of their experience. They'll get contacted if their offer is accepted, and then they can check out.
Okay. So as a CEO, what are some of the core principles or values that is geared toward Ergo Offers, and providing solutions?
Yeah, I think a big thing that we all care about is transparency. So both transparency of the product, right? The whole idea is like making interactions and price conversations more transparent, but then that really is kind of the ethos of the whole company. So we also have the same pricing for all retailers, and we really try and carry that transparency to also like how we run our daily operations.
And so when you're approaching businesses, what is some of the key takeaways? Are you're encouraging businesses like, hey, you can sign up with us. This is the benefit of us being in partnership.
Yeah, there's a lot that we're hearing. I think the number one thing that businesses want is like, hey, we're just sitting on some inventory and it's not selling. Can you help us clear this, right? Like we want to make money. We don't want to throw this away. We don't want to have to trash it. And so that's a really common pain point, is kind of helping businesses clear that stuff that's just not selling. Other businesses, they're doing fine with sales, but they're like, hey, we want to change our pricing strategy and we don't really know if it's going to backfire. And so if they add Ergo, they also get some pricing insights. So within the app, they can kind of see how their prices compare to other Ergo retailers. And so they can use that information to know if they've made the right pricing strategy. So those are kind of the two things that we're hearing from retailers when we talk to them.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you don't want to, as a retailer, having all that inventory, especially because we're getting so close to the end of the year. And some people, even like I was in Macy's, and they're letting basically stuff go for like $5, and I'm like, there's no way they're making profit on that.
Exactly. And so with this, it's private, right? Like you make your offer, it's not public what you're going to pay for it. So the retail
I'm sorry, yeah, the Wi-Fi went out.
No problem.
So with the rise in remote working from home, what challenges are you seeing with people that's working from home that's using your system?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're also a fully remote company. So that's important to us as a company. And so we try to be flexible with the retailers we're talking to when they're also working from home. I think honestly, after this many years after the pandemic, a lot of people are pretty good at Zoom, but definitely like doing installation sessions where we help retailers with the download process. It's actually really easy just from the app store, and we tried to make it really intuitive, but things always go wrong and people always have questions. And so we have installation sessions where we're doing it over Zoom. And sometimes you're like, oh, this would be much easier if we were in the same room and I could kind of click around. But you have to be like, hey, move your mouse to the top left of the screen and hit X and things like that. So that's definitely the biggest challenge, is just from that aspect. But otherwise, I think people have gotten pretty used to remote stuff.
Okay. And looking forward in the future, what are some aspiration and goals for Ergo Offer, and how do you envision the platform evolving and continue to change?
Yeah, I'm super excited about where we're headed. So I think basically any store you've ever been on, if you see a sale, that store could be using Ergo. So I just can't wait for us to kind of completely take over the internet. That's what I see. And I think our tool is only going to get better and better. So as we get more people using it and have more volume, we can start to make really interesting insights and really have it be its own engine and decision engine, which could get really interesting. So I think technically it's going to get better. And I think our growth is just only going to go up.
And so do y'all have partnerships, or are y'all looking to have partnerships with people like Poshmark, or is that like you're just strictly dealing with department stores?
No, so yeah, right now we're actually mostly working with D2C brands. So like brands that have their own website and sell directly from that website. And that's because what we first launched as is a Shopify app. So it needs to be stores that use Shopify to build their website. But we are open to talking to anyone who thinks it sounds interesting, especially the bigger brands. It could be a real opportunity. And so no, we're not at all limited.
Okay. And if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way of getting in contact?
Yeah, so we have a website, ergooffers.com, ERGO offers.com. And then we also have an Instagram and TikTok, also at Ergo Offers.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time, the contact information, because it went out?
Yeah, I saw it go out. No problem at all. So yeah, we have a lot of ways for people to get in touch. So we have our website, ergooffers.com, ERGO offers.com. There you can find our contact info, as well as how to download the app from Shopify App Store. And then we also have an Instagram and TikTok, also Ergo Offers. So you can follow us, and that's where we show the latest retailers that have partnered with us, and just kind of fun behind the scenes of a day in the life of an Ergo employee.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Claire, for taking time out of your day to come tell us about your company. Wish you the best success in the future. And anytime that you want to come back, you're always welcome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Tune in to the Diva Hawk Show. Motivate the glow. We give you more info. Think to my head to toe. I let the whole world know. I let the whole world know.